Hi there, welcome to the second episode of the A is for Agent podcast. Today we'll be building on what we discussed last time about the vision of building a AI platform for everyone in the open source world. And I'm going to run you through some of the thinking that I've had and then current progress so you can see this come alive. So what we'll do first is I will show you just a few slides on which summarise what my thinking's been so far. So the first slide is about what I'm calling the concept kernel. So it's why am I doing this? Well, I suppose the point is that I've always felt throughout my life and my career that I've always been part of somebody else's game. If you look back through history, there's always been governments and warlords and other people that have controlled humanity. And if you think about it now, the most powerful entities in our world are the tech companies and some of the other big corporations. I really believe in the power of the individual. So self-determination is really important. And I don't feel that people can ever have that level of self-determination and self-control and resilience and ability to do what they want with their lives if they're captured as just individual users in some database. So that idea of self-determination is really key and central, along with the ability to control your own destiny, self-sufficiency, be able to use your own resources to achieve what you want in the world. But to do that, you need personal data sovereignty. You can't be in a situation where everything is stored in Microsoft's OneDrive or Google's cloud, and then you're basically asking permission to get access to it. Everything needs to be stored locally, so you have control. When I say locally, under your direct control, and then shared out on the terms that you decide, not what a company decides to permit you. So what I've done is I've taken those ideas and thought, how can we do this? Well, to start with, we need to build what I would call a personal automation system, the ability to I'm just going to move myself out of the way there, to ability to automate your life, give people the tools that are truly open source, not just free or really watered down in terms of the capability, but give them an automation system. I want to build a tribe of people around this idea. So it's not just me. I mean, I certainly have instigated this effort because I just can't stand it any longer. But really, this has got to be way bigger than me. We need a group of people that all see the benefit of making best in class AI tools that are leading rather than following what the big companies are providing. So that capability is driven by the community. And then I've put monetization on there. It's based on scaling or offloading. Everything that we build in A is for Agent is going to be able to be run by yourself. If somebody is truly willing to take bull by its horns and do everything themselves, you'll be given everything you need to do that. Monetization, for me personally, but also for the community that we build, is necessary just so that we can actually dedicate our work lives to this effort. And achieve the things we want to do in our own life. I want to do a lot of travel with my family. That's by the side of this effort, but it needs to be on there. So there will be a little bit of monetization, but it really is not the focus. I'm not trying to create the next Google or the next X or OpenAI. That is really just a means to an end. So that's the second thing. So I've drilled down on what that means in terms of core ideology, what that means for, let's see if I can get that off again. What that means is the vision is a place where people thrive unconstrained by these massive organizations that will be trying to monopolize AI. I want to free people from those tech overlords. But all of that's, what's the purpose? To use technology to make people's lives better. So the strategy to do that is to provide people massive leverage through a reliable open source AI platform where they're in full control and can automate all their work. Now, when I say leverage, it's about doing everything that you're currently doing faster, but making it so you can just achieve crazy amounts, 100x, 1000x what an individual person can currently do. So ultimately, as you'll see, that's about how can we make it so that there's single person organizations that can achieve as much as the companies and organizations we see around us with hundreds and thousands of people involved. So that is ultimately right down the track in the journey. So I'll share with you how I think of things. If you look at AI, since ChatGPT came out in November 2022, the first and foremost capability was that AI chat, the ability to have a conversation with an AI and develop ideas. And even though the chat was the first foray into AI, what we now see as generative AI, it'll always be needed. There's always going to be the need for an individual person to work one-on-one with the computer, just to shoot the shit, just to play with an idea, and just investigate. Whether it amounts to anything is beside the point. It's just an ability for people, individual people, to interact with with AI and computers, and that's where AI chat comes in. A key aspect of that, though, is no vendor lock-in. That AI chat needs to be able to be perfectly interoperable with any of the commercial models. So I'm thinking primarily OpenAI ChatGPT 5 currently, although that'll date this podcast a fair bit in very short order. Anthropic Claude, Google Gemini, and Grok from xAI. So they're the four key commercial providers. We want to be able to interoperate with that, but not be locked to it. We choose when we want to use those APIs. We don't use their tools. ChatGPT desktop's great if you want to be stuck in their ecosystem forever. We just want to be on the outside, going in, saying we have our own desktop, we'll go in and use those models when it makes sense to us. And why would we use ChatGPT desktop anyway? Because A is for agent is superior because of the community thought and love that's put into it. So that's the building block. Now what comes next? Well, next is just memory. The AI chat, we need 100% memory so that any conversation that's had with the AI, which can, in a one conversation we could start with ChatGPT, then bounce the idea off Grok, then ask Claude to write it up really neatly, and then that journey, all the steps of that journey and all the output of that needs to be stored forever in memory, so at any future time, be it next hour or in 5 years time or in 25 years time, we can instantly get access to that, so we never lose information. So that's that. So building an AI chat with really good memory is core and foundational. But what comes next? An AI browser. So when you're investigating ideas, the very first chatbots, agentic AI chatbots, allowed you to search the internet and bring things in through results augmented generation, RAG techniques. But what we've seen in the last 12 months, starting with Perplexity Comet, and then coming through with some of the Edge and Chrome plugins, AI plugins, Copilot and the likes of this, you've seen people try to AI enhance browsers. Now that general capability, which is now being seen in what they're calling ChatGPT or OpenAI Atlas, that idea is an extension of the AI chat. It's where an individual wants to find out something, wants to supervise, discovery, but is just still playing around. They're not trying to make it repeatable. They're not committing to a life, a agentic workflow for life. They're just investigating things, and people do that through conversations, but they also do it through web browsing. So that AI browser is functionality that builds upon the chat, and that's really how I see it. It's you get the chat going, but then you can get the chat to involve the browser. Why not? And start delegating tasks to that. And memory is important to that effort too. You can't. We need all that browsing history and everything also to be available to the memory. So that's the next step. But what comes next? Well, next we need to start thinking about all of the data we currently have, and also the streaming data that's coming into and out of our lives. So the next level of capability is, as well as the chat and the browser memory, to have memory of all of your current work documents. So there'll need to be a capability within the system that can access all of your documented history. So all your documents in OneDrive, be able to extract from it, but also to create if needed. So you can have a chat, find something out through a browser, but then save it to disk and make that available to the AI system's memory for perpetuity. So there's that local disk and also cloud disk storage, so OneDrive or Google Drive or any other file system that you've currently got your own documents in. There's going to be a need to pull that into memory. But then once you've got to that point, you then need to keep up with it. You need what I'm calling a message hub. So every time a message hub is a generic idea for something, an event has happened. What's happened? A Word document's been updated. Okay, we'll update the memory. An email has arrived. That comes into the message hub and says, hey, an email's arrived. One of the actions of that is, I'll put that in memory. So there's going to be a bigger and bigger build-up of memory and knowledge over time. But this message hub is effectively a portal into all of these streams of information that are coming into your life. So I've talked about emails, but also SMSs, WhatsApp messages, likes on your Facebook posts if you still use Facebook, or TikTok or Instagram or whatever. So all of these messages will be coming in, and we need to be able to incorporate that. And the reason that that's important is, first of all, it allows you to keep on top of things, the AI system that we're building to keep on top of things, but it also starts enabling the next level, which is workflows. So we want to be able to build workflows using AI so that we can do tasks, so we can set off agents to go and do things for us and come back with the results. But we also want to make it so that can be event driven. So, for example, so a simple agentic workflow would be part of this message hub and memory system. It would be, an email's arrived. Okay, get an AI LLM to summarize that. Okay, vectorize it, store it in memory. When I say vectorize it, if you're not familiar with that term, that means make it so that it's really, really powerfully searchable by an LLM, a vector database, and the like. So you can find things in the future. So that's a simple agentic workflow, but you can create very complex ones. So you see in automation systems like N8N, people now have got these multi-step agentic workflows. That's very, very, very rigid, but once a day, wake up at 6 a.m., go and search the news headlines from 5 different sites, send all those headlines to an AI LLM, and create a daily summary of what's happening in the world. Okay, great. Then post that update to a website, and then get the AI to download the feedback from the previous day's web analytics to find out if there's any particular news stories that are of use, make a note of interest to people and are getting hits. Put that into the memory for tomorrow, so that when you're looking and prioritizing the website summaries, you can put more focus on that. The point is that the agentic workflows will build off a combination of AI agents, web searching through the browser, and also the events that are happening. A lot of them will be event driven. If you notice that somebody, for example, through your message hub, you find that one of your friends is posting lots of messages from a location outside of the country. Oh, they're on holiday. Okay, well, the agentic workflow might notice that and send you a message directly to your AS for Agent mobile app and say, hey, just to let you know, we've noticed out there in your group, in your world, things are happening that maybe you're not aware of just yet. So you can build messages upon messages, but with more context. You can even make it so that other actions occur off the back of that. But agentic workflows, the important thing with those is to realize quite often they're not fully mechanistic. It might be, go and find me the best, every month, wake up and go and find me the best travel deals, so I can and make some suggestions to me on what I should be planning. You could have a general agentic workflow that it's not a rigid procedure. It's just go and do some work. It's not something that's really repeatable and dependable, but it is a series of actions. That flows on to the next one, which is what I would call AI-enabled processes. So this is where you're looking for real execution discipline. So things that must happen really reliably every day, every month, every week, every year, or when certain things happen. And the outcome can't be just generally provided back to the user, but needs to be, input into other processes. So there's a lot of rigor required for it. An LLM is too flexible and broad brush to be able to handle that kind of thing. You need some things that's a bit more mechanistic and a bit stronger. So an A10 might be able to do it, but I'm looking for something even better than that. So at the moment, thinking of using what's called temporal execution to handle those really high importance processes. Again, memory needs to extend to that. The memory needs to be able to be there always, so things are findable and contextualizable, so that the AI has all the information at its fingertips. Then the final bit is when you've got all of that, okay, you've automated a person, but what about building a business? This is where organizations come in. Now, when you start having everything as agentified, you don't need that AI browser anymore, or the AI chat, because that's something that individuals do. But when you're starting to enable individuals to have whole organizations, whole groups, managed groups of agentic workflows and AI-enabled processes, along with things like interfaces to the outside world, so websites and phone interfaces, so people can call up, or virtual meetings, so Teams meetings between your organization and a customer that is driven by an AI avatar and an AI brain. So it looks so that the person on the other side is interacting with what looks like a human. You disclose this, but you say no, this is actually an AI avatar. But gives potential customers a really natural interaction point. So that organization side of things is something you can layer on top. Once you can automate an individual, you can start thinking about automating teams of individuals. So you've got the interfaces aspect, you've got all of organizational policies, so right through things like we discussed before with A is for Agent generally, the vision, mission, purpose, all those kind of things, guiding principles, guiding policies, priorities. You can start bringing in all that kind of management planning. You can start automating and turning that whole thing into a plan, do, check, act cycle through there. So I mean, that's massively visionary. We're a long way from that, but I just want to show people that this is the journey that I'm on personally, and A is for Agents on. We're going to get to the point where we can build whole organizations. Now, whether you want to do that or not is beside the point. A lot of people will say, look, I just want to have a good chat interface where I can access anything, or I just want to do browsing. But people can opt in to go up to the point where if they want, they can run a whole business or businesses that own many businesses, and can just provide massive, massive value to individuals and to the world, because something's got to give. Either people end up with more leisure time, which is one outcome, or they'll just get such massive value and have such a high standard of living that people are working as much as they ever have, but just the amount the economy is producing is massive, and that wealth is going to the people who are driving it. They've built this kind of system. So that's the capability ladder that's the current plan. It may well change over time. I don't know if it will, because I think a lot of these things are somewhat timeless. Any system is going to need memory. AI is not going away. I don't see the way that people interact with computers and think through problems using chat. I don't that will morph, but I can't see it going away altogether. Message hub, that's there's effectively message hubs in the central nervous system. That this is central to information processing. I can't see that going away. And then repeatable workflows and processes, that's not going away. Organizations is not going away. Sure, times will change, but you can look back in 50 years' time, and those building blocks or things similar to them will still be there. So that's the journey. We need to start with the chat, and that will be the focus of episode 3. So I just wanted to give people a view of where this has come from personally, and where we're going. At the moment, we just have a PowerPoint presentation. All the work's ahead, but I'm looking forward to sharing that journey with you. Okay, bye-bye.